Good morning, everyone out there on YouTube. If you are watching this live, smash that like button. I want to thank you all for joining us for ICONversations today. We have 5 of our amazing icons who are the top producers globally at eXp Realty that we award with production awards and so much more. Today from Florida, we have Michelle Rinaldi. From Texas, we have Stuart Sutton. From British Columbia, we have Trevor Bigg. From Alberta, we have Adrian Carlton. And also from Alberta, our moderator today is Dave Kadoon. Dave, take it away.
Thanks, Brian. Good to see all you icons up here on the stage. So we're gonna have some fun this morning. Stuart, good to see you. We were on the stage last week and we're just gonna jump right into it. So we're gonna share our experiences of being icons. I'm gonna throw some questions at you and we're just gonna kind of see where this morning takes us. So Stuart, because you were on here with me last week, we're gonna start with you, put you in the hot seat. I know you have many years of experience, and that's something that our audience is definitely going to want to hear today. So our first question is, what was the time frame involved in achieving your current level of production, and how long have you been at this level?
Well, I could go several directions with that one, but I'm just going to take the short and sweet one. How's that? I've been in residential real estate sales for the most of my adult life, and when I started, I learned to door knock and cold call, and it worked beautifully. I leveled up production and built a very large team and did, what we might term mega production. But it turns out that the real estate business has so many different things to offer, and that really wasn't where my best fit was. So after a time, I left the real estate business, ran a web services company that provided web services for real estate agents. But when I left that and sold my shares in that and went back into real estate, I just hired a part-time assistant. And that's what I've been doing for the last 15, 16 years. And bottom line is that I just kind of cycled back around, and believe it or not, our net and what we earn is not very much different than when we ran that big team. So this is the way I enjoy real estate. It's fun for me. I love spending time with my clients and the people that are involved in buying and selling real estate, much more than when I was managing people and a team. And people who run the big teams, and they have that skill and that knack and that passion. For me, it's just, I really enjoy what I do and how I do it. And so, for you guys sitting out there, whatever your goals and dreams are in real estate, there's just many ways to make a very nice living and really enjoy your real estate career.
Thanks, Stuart. Appreciate that. Now, Michelle, we're going to throw this over to you now. What does the time frame look like for you in regards to achieving the level of production you're at now?
Well, I got my real estate license back in 2012, and I had no prior real estate knowledge whatsoever. We actually relocated from Toronto, Ontario to South Florida with the goal of my getting my real estate license and then having that be what generates the income to support my family. So that's a whole other story why we came down to South Florida. But when I first started out, I was on the struggle bus. Like, it was one of those like do or die, like this is the job I'm going to do. It's what I believe was going to generate me the most amount of money. I wasn't going to go sit behind a desk and make, $15 an hour working for someone else. And I always make the joke that I was too old to become a stripper. So the quickest money I could get into was real estate. And then I think it did take me, I mean, I've been an icon agent for the last 5 consecutive years with EXP. Prior to that, I was 2 years at 100%. It took me a good 4 years of like scratching and clawing and just being relentless with making this career work. And it was all or nothing. I didn't have a fallback. I wasn't in it half-assed. I wasn't, doing something on the side, thinking it was a side hustle. This was like, my kids eat or they don't. So I had to make it work. And then just, by the God and praying and hard work and believing in myself and a supportive family, I'm here speaking to all of you, but I did not reinvent the wheel, and I do not do anything anyone else can't do.
To hear that of you either work in order to put food on the table, definitely it goes a long way and puts motivation, and then it grows you further and further on how you're going to grow your business. And then, like you say, 5 straight years of being an icon. Hats off to you for that. I'm 2-time icon, and I was a top level performer at my previous brokerage for 3 years, and on the pace for another icon again this year. You're right. Once you get things going, it definitely it snowballs. Okay, let's head up north of the border. Adrienne, how about yourself? What was the time frame involved to get you to where you're at right now?
Okay, so I've been in the game for 8 years now, and I would say similar to Michelle, the first few years were painful. I got into it when even the real estate board, when I took my course, was literally saying to all of us, wow, you guys got in at a really bad year. This is going to be a really tough year. There was not much faith in the industry. There wasn't any faith in my friends. They all said the same thing. Wow, you did this at a bad time. So I had to go up against a lot of just a bad market, and I needed a lot of faith to do it. But same as Michelle, it was kind of like, this is my only option. It's do or die. I got to make this work. And needless to say, it did work. So to answer your question, it was about 4 years in, going into my 5th, where I started to hit that like single diamond, double diamond level. And and so that's where I've kind of maintained now.
Fantastic. And we're going to jump over to Trevor now. And Trevor, we've heard the three versions already, so now you should be good and prepared. How about yourself to getting to the level you're?
Yeah, absolutely. So I jumped in 2019. So I'm just cresting my 5th year, but from jumping in to right, it did take me 3 full years of some pretty aggressive marketing campaigns to get my business to the level of production it is now. And when I say aggressive marketing strategies, I mean, I did a little bit of everything. I knocked on all the doors in all the neighborhoods I wanted to farm. I called as many people as I knew as much as possible. I joined different community organizations, and I put a big logo on the side of my truck. And one summer spent way too much money handing out branded sunglasses with little bottles of sunscreen. It's kind of like a beat the heat package. I literally did as much as I could think of and as much as possible for the first 3 years. Now cresting my 5th year, we've kind of broken it down and narrowed it down to what works for me and what doesn't. And over the past couple of years, we've been able to track some pretty steady growth through even the patch of rough market conditions we saw last year. So I would say, if anything, just consistency and perseverance are the 2 biggest takeaways from getting it off the ground.
Fantastic. I had to chuckle a little bit when you talked about the sunglasses and the sunscreen and spending way too much money doing that. I think everybody on this stage, and maybe I'm speaking out of line because I know it definitely happened with me, but we've definitely spent more money on marketing material that didn't prove to be fruitful, but we all learned from our experiences and we made it up here on the stage ourselves. Trevor, I'm going to throw you right under the hot seat because you got to wait for the last question. So now you're going to jump right into this next one. Stuart kind of highlighted this when he started, but providing insights into your sales background. When you entered real estate, did you have any prior sales experience? Or was real estate your initial professional pursuit? Were you just looking to, like, I want to make a change, I want to jump into it, or did you have that sales background?
Yeah, no, I had absolutely zero sales experience prior to real estate. Like even in my family, my mom worked at the government office. My stepdad worked at the lumber mill. I, at the time, was diamond drilling based out of Stewart, BC, which borders Hyder, Alaska. So when I decided to get into real estate, it was my roommate at the time was taking his real estate license, ended up talking me into it. And he was planning to start his business based out of Kamloops. But in Williams Lake, where I'm located, the year I got licensed, there was only another 19 active agents servicing the area. So I saw that as an opportunity to stand out in a market space that was, little to no competition. And 4.5 years later, we've done over 230 transactions and have hit Icon 2 times back to back. So we're no regrets with the decision to jump in head first.
Fantastic. And I'm going to go sidebar here. Your roommate who got you into real estate, is that roommate still in real estate?
Yes, he absolutely is. We actually we do quite a bit of business together between Williams Lake and Kamloops.
Okay, perfect. Okay, I wanted to see if it was an abnormality. Excellent. Michelle, let's jump over to you. Any prior experience in sales before jumping into everything?
No, I actually went to school for a degree in communications. And then right after I graduated college, I ended up working down on Wall Street. So I got my license. I was a government bond trader. So I did that for a couple years. And then really, like after I met my husband, I just planned on being a trophy wife. And when that didn't pan out, I was like, oh, I think I better get my real estate license. So no, I had no experience. I had zero experience in sales. I had zero experience in real estate. I had zero, like I got my real estate license and was just like, okay, who's going to buy a house? Who's selling a house? Like I just thought it was a given that now we actually just do that for our jobs and not have to go seek, clients. So I learned it. And my first few years, I literally was trained to be successful because of my failures. I did everything wrong. Deals I look back on that I would have got to closing today went sideways. So it was really just a matter of me just getting my butt kicked for a few years to really, really master this. And I have young children. So, I mean, if you can go up against a 6-year-old and win, I'm pretty good about getting a seller to put their property on the market for what I want. You know what I mean? Like, get a couple toddlers, hang out with them for the afternoon, and then you'll really know what it's like to hear the word no and how to come over, on the other side of that. But I had zero experience. It's all just been self-trained. And my biggest thing is, like I said, I don't reinvent the wheel. I just copy and customize. Copy from the best, customize it to suit your real estate business. And that's what I've done, like pretty much for the last 12 years.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you so much on that. Adrian, how about yourself? Any prior sales experience?
Yeah, so when I was in my 20s, I started out at a clothing store called Le Chateau. If you're from Canada, you probably know what it is. It was a pretty hot store back then. Now it's closed down. But yeah, so I was a top salesperson there. And to be honest, it obviously wasn't my first pick of a job, but I wasn't in school and I was like, where should I work? I got declined at some other places. And so I tried my hand there, and I didn't realize it at the time, but I would say it really prepared me for sales. It taught me how to talk to people. It taught me how to just be natural and casual and win them over without them realizing I'm selling myself to them. So as much as like, it was almost like a shameful past for me where it's like, oh yeah, I was in clothing sales. Cool. It seriously set the stage for me. And then after that, I was I was a breakdance performer during that time. And then I ended up becoming a teacher. So started in a dance school with a few friends, and I taught at that dance school. And again, I had to really like sell myself to gain my own clients. I had to build my own business through that as well. So I would say all of that was just like really learning the skill of relationship building and honing in on that. And that was very extremely helpful for me in my career now.
Excellent. Thank you. And Stuart, how about yourself? You kind of tipped on a little bit on the first question, but can you elaborate a little bit on your prior experience in any
Yeah, actually, no, I went into real estate, graduated from college in May and started selling houses in June. And that just really resulted because I went to college in Austin, Texas, and my job offers were on the East Coast and the West Coast when I graduated. And I kind of looked up and said, you know what, that's a long way. I kind of like Austin, Texas. So I checked into real estate. My folks actually owned a real estate business. I'd literally never worked for them, but I don't ever remember missing a meal. So I asked them about it and interviewed with a few brokers and went to work.
It's interesting. You said the family was in real estate, but you had never really dipped your toes in it until after college. For myself, I had no prior sales experience. I'm a retired police officer. The best thing I could relate to that is I would give out traffic tickets, and people would complain about the cost of the traffic ticket, and I would sell them on taking that ticket, or there was the other 3 infractions that it did, and we could add it up. And it always managed to them taking that ticket, never pleading guilty in court, and that's kind of how I got my experience into sales. You'd be surprised when you can convince someone to pay a fine.
Well, you
so
know what,
efficiency
Dave,
to me, in my go ahead.
Oh, I apologize. I was just going to say, I
Nope,
just,
go for it.
I so much applaud and admire people who come from one career to another. I feel like I was a little bit blessed in that I didn't have a paycheck. I mean, I was fresh out of college. I didn't have any money anyway. So, kind of scraping by for a little while wasn't really hard on me. But I just, ever since I've been in real estate, I've always admired people who left another career and started over in real estate. It's a pretty big thing to do, and it takes a lot of courage and it takes a lot of determination.
Perfect, thank you. Moving on to the next question, Michelle, we're gonna get you to start on this one. So, considering your career initiation, did you start as a full-time or a part-time agent, and what made you decide on going that route?
I started as full-time agent. So when we moved down to South Florida from Toronto, we moved into my in-laws' apartment because we didn't have a condo to live in. And literally the day we got here, because we drove down, I started real estate school like the next day. My husband, who is Canadian, couldn't work in the US. So he took care of our youngest daughter, Ella, who was 4 at the time. And I went and got my real estate license. So it was full time just by default. That's what I decided I was going to do. And the option was, succeed or fail and move home with your mother-in-law. So I don't know who needs that as a wake-up call, but I wasn't going back to her house. So I had to succeed. But yeah, I really think if you're going to do it, you have to do it full time. I don't know how you just do it part time unless you have like a massive wealthy social circle and they're just like, oh, hey, by the way, can you write up an offer for this? Or, oh, hey, by the way, like, I just don't get it. Like, you need to be like out there and like breathing it in and knowing your farm area and showing your face and I, so I full time I did it.
Perfect, thanks, Michelle. Adrian, how about yourself?
So I went into it full time as well. I wouldn't at all say they worked full time hours. I think in your first year, anyways, for me, I kind of felt like I was floating around trying to figure out what does actually work. I feel like Trevor did a really badass job of just trying literally everything. So good job, Trevor. But yeah, I think I was like trying to figure out what works and then sitting around a lot being like, oh, when's someone going to call me? And like just not really being productive and not knowing what to do. And that's why I would say that EXP is actually so amazing, is because there's literally 40 hours of live training every week and you can figure out what to do by going to those trainings. I didn't have that. It kind of felt like, I got my brokerage or got my license, went to my brokerage and I was like, okay, like there was good people there, and I had a really awesome broker. He's a friend of mine to this day, but back then there just wasn't that level of training. It was kind of like, okay, you got to figure out now how to sell yourself, like start taking courses, start reading books, do the stuff. And for me, that was just a big shocker, because I was like, well, I took my course. I thought I just am supposed to kind of like start working and there's going to be business. It was like a massive rude awakening. So yeah, it was, I'm like forgetting the question now, but ultimately I think that, yeah, just coming into the business, like the intention was full-time, but it wasn't till about a year where all those little seeds that I planted that I felt like were kind of doing nothing, it really popped off. And then when I did like, 200 grand in 6 months, I was like, oh my God, like my world had been broken open and my faith level increased to what was possible and what I was able to do. And so just anyone that's out there that's a newer agent, just know that even though those seeds that you're planting seem like they're not sprouting up, a seed doesn't sprout up right away. It takes some time to be in the ground, and eventually it sprouts and then produces fruit and grows. But there is a season of darkness where you're like, oh my God, is anything going to work?
And you're right when it comes to that, because you can definitely start out part-time, but in order to grow into scale, you have to put in those the full-time hours. And a couple of questions we're going to get into, I think will open the eyes to anyone in the audience who maybe is part-time and considering to go into full-time. But we'll get into that here next. But Trevor, we'll get you into this. Started out part-time or right into it?
Yeah, same deal. I jumped into it full time right out of the gates. I think I touched on it before. My previous job, it was a camp job that required me to work in remote camps for like 4 to 6 weeks at a time. Most of the camps were out of cell range, and some of them were powered strictly by generator and only on at certain times of the day. So weaning into real estate wasn't really an option. My next shift, I was scheduled to spend 28 days in an underground mine. So that was when I decided I was going to dive full time into real estate. The first few months can definitely be an uphill battle, figuring out systems and getting clients in place and kind of just organizing your business and figuring out what you even want to do with it. But had I had a job that was a little more local and allowed me to go part-time until things were a little more steady, I probably would have gone that route. But at the end of the day, real estate is a full-time job. It's more or less like 6 full-time jobs all wrapped into one. So it will require your full-time attention whenever you're ready to take things to that more consistent level of production.
Thanks, Trevor. And for Stuart, I'm going to go on the assumption that you probably dove in full-time right off the get.
Yeah, I'm going to have to concur with everything that's been said about that. And real estate it's a business that just basically envelops you. And if you're not giving it your full-time attention, it really is a challenge to move forward. So yeah, started full-time from day one.
Awesome. And I also started full-time right off the get-go when I retired from being a police officer. And then I took a break and actually started another business and went part-time into real estate. And business was good, but it wasn't until I closed down the other business, thanks to COVID, that I myself saw my business explode when I went back into full-time. That's where I could definitely focus my attention on the business where it needed to grow, and things just took off from there. Michelle, we're going to start off with you with the next question, and let's go with professional development. Do you actively invest in furthering your education and coaching? I know you're on this stage, so you're doing coaching example for what we have everyone in the audience, but do you do anything else on top of that?
I do. A few years ago, I actually became certified as a condo specialist. So I just kind of fell into the niche of selling oceanfront condos. It's where I live. It was easy to me. I lived in, we kind of moved around a lot after a couple years down on Singer Island. So I just started selling oceanfront condos. So I did end up getting my certification in being a specialist in that market. I also am a certified negotiation specialist. I've done with EXP, I did the REO course. So yeah, there's a bunch of different things that I've done. I also, follow some of the, the other big coaches and kind of take on things that they do and maybe, get guided, into, oh, I want to put together a newsletter. That's like one thing that I've never done. I just never wanted to tackle that. So literally yesterday, I just, listened to a podcast about sending out a newsletter and was working on getting the templates and having that all on kind of like a automated system. So yeah, I think that there's always room to grow. And then, like I said, I learned the most from my own failures. I literally just made a massive mistake. I didn't even know it was a mistake. About a month ago, I went out for a couple that wanted to sell their condo on the island, asked me to come over. And they're like, yeah, we're thinking about selling. They made it sound like they were going to use me as their listing agent. And they said, we want it to be real hush, hush, quiet. Maybe we'll put it on the market in like another month. But in the interim, if you get the key and you have a buyer, can you show it? And I was like, okay, wrong. No, get your paperwork signed, because it was the dead of summer, and I guess I didn't bring enough of my own buyers to look at it. And then they decided to list it with someone else. And I'm like, never again will I do that. I will always say, yes, I'm happy to not put it on MLS, but I need you to sign this paperwork if you want me to bring people into your home. And that was a lesson that was a $50,000 lesson that I learned. That kept me up until 3:00 last night, because I'm still annoyed that I let them get one over on me. But yeah, I'm always learning, and I'm mostly from my own mistakes, which I think is really important. So don't get hard on yourself and don't be discouraged, because they are going to be invaluable in the future. And that mistake will probably, prevent me from doing it again, who knows how many times in the future.
And that's a good point. When you get knocked down, pick yourself back up, brush yourself off, and then learn from the mistakes. Adrian, how about yourself? Do you actively continue to invest in furthering your education and or even getting coached?
So first of all, I start with the EXP conferences. So I go to the EXP Con shareholders. Now that shareholders is not happening anymore, I'll go to EXP Con Canada. And I feel like that's a really great place for people to start. And for myself, like those are kind of the non-negotiables. So I start there. Great training, always inspiring. And, if you're at EXP, you want to walk away inspired about what EXP is and what it offers in the culture. So I think it's really important to plug into that. But then, yes, I also invest in other education. I have some colleagues that will maybe do coaching. I prefer to narrow in on something that's going to be a specific skill set that's going to help my business. So for example, the last one I invested in was a course on YouTube, and that's been very fruitful. I've seen a return on that, and it's something that excites me. So I think it's important to invest in something that it's your jam, like I love video. I've built my business largely from being in video, doing video. And so this was kind of a natural growth from that of, building out a YouTube channel next. And so I enjoy being on video. I love doing video. So that was just a smart choice for me, because I knew that I would do it and I would build it because I enjoy it. So I try to invest in things that I enjoy, B is going to give me a skill set that I can implement, like a specific skill set.
Thank you. And Stuart, how about yourself? I know you've got decades of experience, and over the years, I'm sure you've taken training and whatnot. Are you still at that level where you still continue to learn new things?
Oh, I got to tell you, it's so important. I have literally, last time I counted, my investments in coaching and learning was well into six figures. But I will tell you that coaching literally changed my entire perspective on real estate. It changed the way I did business. It improved my personal life. It's just, but you got to find what is it in. I think Adrian said it. What is your jam? What is what is it that you enjoy doing? And we always preach to our kids, we don't care what you do, as long as you love doing it. So in the mid to late 90s, I made a complete 100% transition from outgoing business to totally incoming business. What I mean by that is I was a door knocker, cold caller, and within about a 6 month to a year period, with the help of a coach, I completely and totally transitioned my business to 100% marketing and response marketing. So just to be blunt about it, my entire business consists of people calling me and saying, would you come talk to us? I literally have not made a cold call or chased business since the mid 90s. And I never work weekends, never work evenings, haven't literally in 27 plus years, because my entire business consists of positioning myself, putting my expertise out in marketing, and people saying, we need that, and they call me. Sounds a little bit, I actually have people just look at me and just literally face to face just tell me, well, you can't do that. This is real estate. Well, it's I learned it from a coach, an extraordinary coach, and I've lived it. And it's if I hadn't sought out coaching, my life would be very different. But yes, I still continue. I'm actually have a coach right now, and the coach I have right now is improving my online marketing and helping me down that path. So I have a daily schedule, and part of that daily schedule, without fail, is education every single day. So I'd highly encourage it, and I think everybody here would agree that it just has such a big impact on your career.
And I think I can add to that is you've been so successful that on a Friday, you can sit here for ICONversations and have the birds chirping in the background and singing. It's kind of a nice sound to hear when you hear you talking. Heard it last week and hear it again this week.
Oh, that's great.
Trevor, how about yourself? You obviously have had a drive to get to where you're at with the career you had beforehand, but are you still continuing with education and coaching to further your growth?
Yeah, absolutely. First, I want to touch on something that's already been brought up. I do think personal experiences are going to be what teaches you the most. I know a lot of new agents have their first couple of big failures and take it pretty hard. Really try to use those as learning experiences, because I mean, me personally, I've had to buy a handful of hot water tanks and a couple furnaces and a new panel for an old mobile. I've had my fair share of mistakes where I've scuffed my knees and had to kind of get back up and figure it out. But again, like learning from those experiences has been what's really driven the most value into my educational process. As far as really diving into professional development, I sign up for almost every webinar I can. I'm part of a couple different groups that host biweekly seminars on various tips and tricks regarding emerging real estate trends and technologies. I'm signing up for as many courses as my board has to offer, and I'm attending as many events as I can in a year, which honestly is where I probably learn some of the most impactful tips and make some of the most valuable connections. Like what was said earlier, events like EXPCon, regional rallies. I've done a handful of Tom Ferry events. Getting in the right room with the right people has been what's absolutely been a game changer for me and my business.
And that's good to hear. And when you ended there with the getting in the right room with the right people, that goes a long way. I also attend EXPCon Shareholder Summit, EXPCon Canada. Those are the events where you start to get to know people and getting into the rooms where, I was fortunate enough to be invited into Brent Gove Suite there back in Vegas this last year. That was fantastic. I was able to have lunch with Glenn Sanford and Michael Valdez at EXPCon Canada last fall. To be exposed to those types of experiences definitely helps grow with what you want to do and where you want to take your business. And set your goals and how are you going to get there. Okay, leads comes up a lot, and for those in the audience and listening on YouTube, you may be struggling with leads. How do you get leads? How am I going to get leads? So I'm going to throw this here at the panel, and I'll happy to share with regards to my way of getting leads as well. But Adrian, we'll start with you. how do you systematically track and manage your leads?
Okay, so this is a little different than how do you get leads, correct? We're talking about how do you track them.
You know, let's do it all in one. How do you get them, and then how do you track them? Because us as icons, I'm going to go on the assumption with you four, because this was with me, I get a lot of leads. I actually get more leads than I can handle for the most part. So for you, how are you getting your leads, and how do you track and manage them?
Okay, so repeat and referral, and that's based on basically just trying to do a really good job and provide awesome marketing with all the clients that I do help, so that then I continue to get referred. I was in the session before this, the big agent meeting, and the guy that was speaking said, you don't get the clients that you want, you get the clients that you deserve. So be someone who deserves them, which I think is like a key right there. So if you want the best clients, you have to do the best job, do the best, marketing video for a listing, go all out with it, do the drone footage, be on camera, show your face, be proud to present that property. And then you will get people reaching out to you after seeing that. So the repeat referral, and then also YouTube has been another source of leads for me. And then I also have one of the higher ranking websites in Canada called REW. I have leads coming in from them, and those pretty much go straight to my team member. She deals with those. So in terms of tracking them, now I'm at a point where I'm like, oh, dang, I need to track these. So we have a couple spreadsheets. One spreadsheet's just for the leads that are coming in, whether they're from, sign calls and realtor.ca and REW. They all go onto a spreadsheet. And then for my, what's my other spreadsheet? My other spreadsheet is for just tracking where they're coming from in terms of all leads. So my leads, my own business, and then my team members' business, that's all on a spreadsheet, and we track where those are coming from. That's pretty much the extent of our tracking.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Michelle, how about yourself? How are you getting leads, and how are you able to manage the amount that are coming in?
So my business is made up primarily of selling condos. So a lot of my clients are coming from out of state. So it's a little bit different. Like I can't just say, oh, hey, I'm going to do, some Facebook posting in my zip code, because I have clients from like Germany, Canada, and all over the US. So whether it's, well accepted or not, but Zillow, I love Zillow, and I'm not ashamed to say it. I spend a lot of money, and I get, I sold a $5 million condo. I've never met the client, and I worked 20 minutes, and that was a Zillow call. So for me, it works. And and that's how I was propelled from when I first started. I started putting money into Zillow and getting leads. On top of doing, but again, a lot of my business is coming from people in New York, New Jersey, who are on Zillow, because that's where they go to look for property. And then that's how they find me. And then I'll get referrals from, friends or their relatives. I also send out mailers to my farm area about new listings that I have. I have an ad in one of the local newspapers that come out. And then this upcoming month, I have my family, it's a Singer Island Living. It's a little magazine. However, I was teaching a class in the world for maybe 2 or 3 years. And I would tell newer agents, if you don't have the marketing money, there's so many free ways you can meet potential clients. If you go to some communities where there is another agent selling a home, go walk through it, and then post it on your social media. Like, hey, check out this new construction or this condo or this new home I was just at. If interested, email me. And, meet the people that work in the different communities, the office managers where I work, the property manager, the cleaning crew, the maintenance guys. Like, I'm on a first name basis with all of them. And they will say, hey, Michelle, so-and-so in unit 12F just told me they're looking to sell. I gave them your number. Like, okay, awesome. Thank you. You know, because they're like, you're a super nice person. You're a realtor. And you always get us our HOA applications done properly, complete, and we want to work with you. So I think there's so many ways to generate leads. And then how do I keep track of them? Half of it's in my head. The other, you know, the ones that I know are buying soon, like I've kind of got it. I keep all my stuff obviously in SkySlope, but then I make physical folders. I like having folders. I like putting the 3 out that I know are closing soon. Here's my 3 buyers that I'm in process of showing property with, and I use my KV Core. So all my Zillow leads or any leads that I get goes into KV Core, and then I monitor that. So pretty much that's the long and short of it.
Perfect, thank you. So we got two ways that leads are coming in and being able to manage them. Stuart, how about yourself over the course of your career? Obviously, I know you're not having to advertise for leads; people are coming into you. But how are you managing everything that comes in?
Well, that's I really, I'm just enjoying this panel very much. Just the way that different people do things and the success behind it. I'm actually a big advocate of what Michelle does, and that is really focus and specialize. So I'm a little opposite of her because I'm from Texas, so I specialize in small acreage, and 100% of our business from, well, first of all, past clients and customers, sphere of influence, that's number one. And I keep those in a Facebook custom audience and keep that updated. We do communicate with them with different ways, but that's one of the ways. But 100% of the new business we get is marketing, marketing, marketing. In other words, create the database that is the best prospective targets, create a marketing piece, and could be YouTube, could be Facebook. More than those, we focus on marketing mailings. We craft a message that's very pertinent to that particular targeted group. We send it to them. From there, they go to a video. The video explains whatever the marketing piece offered them. They go to the video, they like what they see, they sign up or contact us. So that's pretty much what all of our new business is marketing. Go to a video. If you like what you see, contact us. So that's pretty much it's a process. It's precise and it's very effective.
Excellent. And Trevor, how about yourself? You've definitely had a good career since 2019. How are you getting your leads and how are you able to manage them?
Yeah, so just cresting the 5th year, we're still very much pushing forward as far as gathering leads. I'm not quite at the position where I can not pick up the phone or not knock on doors. So the 2 ways that we get the most leads right now has been online leads. Online leads has been a big one. Our website does very well. We do Google ads and social media advertising. We're consistent in our content creation. So that's been great. The other one that has really worked well for us is getting in front of people, community involvement. However I've got to do it, I'm great at door knocking, hosting events, community involvement, but I quickly found out that my skill is being able to connect with people, but I shine when I'm able to perform in person. I speak with a lot of body language and facial expressions, so I'm not able to give the same effect using strategies like cold calling. So getting out in the public, getting in front of the community. I've got 3 kids, all under 12. So going to their school events and sports events, and we're part of the Big Brothers Big Sisters. We're really out in the community, and I'm in a bit of a smaller community. So that's really worked well for us. As far as tracking everybody, KV Core is a system that we've been really diving into lately. I'll be honest, I've just started really leveraging KV Core over the past 18 months. So I'm not quite an expert, but have been really impressed with it so far. The Smart CRM is a great setup. The marketing options and automated touch points are probably saving me hours a day in nurturing leads. It does take a second to get it all figured out. And that was probably the main reason it took me so long to commit to it. But there's a ton of video tutorials that you can watch that'll kind of really walk you through how to get your KV Core operational. I really do think it's a great tool.
No, it's good. That's good points from all 4 of you. So I'm somewhat like Trevor. I'm in a smaller market. I'm a city of 35,000 people. I currently have 42 listings, and listings are never a problem. I pick them up quite easily. There is just with me, people know who I am. I try to showcase myself with marketing around the community. And when it comes to lead generation, managing them, I use Lofty, what used to be called Chime. I was using KV Core, and I still do use KV Core a little bit, but I migrated over to Lofty last year. And the system in there manages a lot of the leads that come in. Just while we've been on this panel, I've had 3 buyer leads come in that I'll be following up with beforehand. I was a few minutes late actually getting to this meeting when Brian was messaging me, like, where are you? You're not here. And I was on the phone with another buyer lead, and that came off of a referral. So that person didn't get off the phone, but what it was a referral through Facebook from several people saying to use me. The guy called me after he'd researched my website, researched me. He says, I think we're a good fit, and we're going out house hunting next week. So getting people to understand who you are and what kind of value and service you can provide them. Trevor, we're going to go right back to you actually with this one. The next question, efficiency. You know, we're all on this stage. We obviously have efficiency in place. I know I have to work on some of mine yet, but what specific responsibilities do you delegate to optimize your efficiency, or are you doing everything yourself?
I was totally hands-on the first couple of years until things did start to progress, and all of a sudden I was working weekends and I was doing paperwork until 11 p.m. and then posting on Facebook at 5 a.m. and it got to a point where obviously I've tapped out my level of efficiency. I no longer had any more hours in a day that I could commit to. So it was, I think about 2 years into it, we hired a social media manager, and that's probably been the biggest time saver I've delegated. Not just social media, but our entire online presence. I still shoot the videos and get out there and get on screen and everything, but the editing and the rest of the content creation is totally taken over by our local social media expert. We opted to keep things local rather than going the virtual assistant route, just simply because, like I said, I'm in a smaller community. I think we've got a population of about 15,000. So I really wanted to keep our content local, based on as far as like sharing local events, engaging in local groups and pages. The local groups and pages really, really amplify your reach and your exposure. Everything else I'm pretty hands-on with, but our online presence is pretty heavily managed.
Thank you. How about yourself, Adrian? How are you? Obviously, I understand you've got a team, so you've got some people that are working with you. But how do you delegate to optimize your efficiency?
Yeah, so I realized that the more I can be out with people, the better. So anything I can try and delegate, I do. So I've recently went to a full-time assistant. I had a part-time assistant before, but I'm trying a virtual assistant company. So I'm working with a Filipino assistant who is awesome and has learned everything quite quickly and is only like $7 an hour. So I'm really happy about that. And then I also have a virtual assistant editor. So he does not my real estate listing videos, but he'll do my reels and put together a lot of my YouTube content. And again, it's just very cost effective. So that's been exciting to implement that this year. It'll be fun to see, my numbers at the end of the year of what that saved me basically. And not only that, but now I'm able to actually get more done and hire out more because I have that affordable, couple of people backing me. So my other assistant, he does all my social media stuff as well. There's some stuff still that I like to have my hands on just for wording and stuff like that so that it has my touch. But I kind of hire out everything that I can and someone shoots my videos for me. I think most of us probably have a professional videographer and photographer. I don't do any of that. And then, I have a team member now who helps me with the overflow of the business, and she's been really awesome. And she's been able to, help me take it to that next level where I can actually buy some extra leads as well and now be making some extra income off of that. So at EXP, we all appreciate multiple streams of income. So that's something that I'm definitely trying to keep my mind open to, is just multiple streams of income and doing it effectively and doing it efficiently.
Perfect, thank you. And how about you, Stuart? Over the years, how are you efficient? I already know you don't work evenings or weekends, so you've got something working.
Yeah, you kind of have to in this business, but yeah. So currently, well, I'll just hit the past real quick. When you go from being on your own to hiring somebody, that's sometimes a big learning curve. So I really highly encourage. There's some great courses out there about how to hire people and what to have them do. And my first inclination was, all right, let me just have them do stuff that isn't wise for me to doing on an hourly wage basis. In other words, it just wasn't a good way to spend my time to go put up a sign or to go put on a lockbox. So that's the first thing I did, was hire someone just to do that manual stuff. And then as my team grew, buyers agents, listing manager, marketing manager, et cetera. But I'll cycle back to right now. I've got a part-time assistant, and I will admit I'm blessed to have an incredible, very, very capable person that's working for me. She is my transaction coordinator, and that's where she earns most of her money, but she's also my direct assistant. So she handles all the things locally. As soon as we get a listing appointment, she creates the documents, takes the information to the listing prospect, and does all those things that just really increase the perception of my professionalism with them. And I do have an agent who handles showings. So I get a call at Saturday at 3:00. One of my clients who has a house on the market says, "Oh, we saw this house. As soon as ours sells, we probably want, this is going to be a great one." I just say, "Absolutely. We want to make sure you get in as soon as you want to." And I just pick up the phone, and my buyer agent goes over and shows them. So it's those two people that really, hiring people like that not only gives you the opportunity to increase your income, but it gives you the opportunity to enhance your life as well. It gives you the opportunity not to have to put in as many hours as you used to, because I can pay my buyer agent by the hour to go show those people. And then when it comes time for them to buy the house, I jump in, do the negotiation, and take the transaction from there. And it was well worth what I invested to have my buyer agent show them, if that makes sense.
Yes, no, it absolutely it does. Michelle, how about in the busy condo sales, and you're definitely going to be busy where you're at. How are you staying efficient with all of this?
So pretty much, I mean, one of the reasons I love selling condos is because I don't have to put any kind of signs in the ground. I don't do open houses. Some of my condos don't allow showings on the weekends or after 4 p.m. And most of my buyers are down here visiting, and I don't even book appointments before 10:30. And I'm usually done by the time my kids roll up from school at 3. Like, I literally am out for a limited number of hours, and then it's just paperwork. If I've got to do a negotiation, I don't care if I have to make a phone call at 7 or 8 at night, or if I have to write up a contract, I'll do that as that work comes in. I do work with my husband. He still has the patience to go out with buyers, whereas I'm way better with the listings. So he will go out with buyers. If I have an inspection, I'll send him. If I have an appraisal, I'll send him. I heard nobody likes a cranky real estate agent, and I am known to be cranky. So he's better with that kind of stuff than I am. I thought about getting like a transaction coordinator, but I'm like, whatever, it's just easier for me to do it myself than to get somebody, no, I pretty much do everything myself that I don't push off to my husband. And my littlest daughter's awful, but she's really cute. So she's kind of my closer. I'll bring her when I have no shame and I really got to get a deal done. Cause no one says no to that one. So yeah, I got the kids working for me too.
Well, you got to do everything you can to make those sales close, and have the kid put on the sad face, or give them the excitement to make sure that sale goes through. For me, time is valuable. I used to do everything. I used to want to have control over everything. Honestly, I still want to have control over everything, but the amount of time in a day that just it doesn't allow for it. I'm already still working about 12 hours a day, sometimes 16. Happy to do it, but for myself, I've hired, or I shouldn't say I didn't hire. I partnered with a company that does much of my marketing, follows up with my sphere of influence, keeps me on top of my clients' minds, and it's generally increased my business exponentially by, last year alone, $5 million in sales I can attribute just to that company with what they've done for me. I'm a domestic team. My wife left her job at the banking industry, and now she is a realtor in real estate. She handles much of the office work, and recently has started dealing with clients as well. And it takes a big load off of what I have to do every day. And then agent attraction. Not everybody does agent attraction, but I focus some parts of my day on that and continue to grow. And even education. I like to keep myself being educated. So what I've had to do in order to make time for that education is I've had to release some of the control in my business to others to allow it to expand. And it has worked fantastic. So I definitely can't complain how that is benefited my business and allowed it to grow. That's actually all the questions I had today. And Brian, it looks like we're pretty much right on time. So I wanted to thank Adrian, Trevor, Stuart, Michelle for coming on this week. I've been on for the last couple of weeks, definitely been enjoying it. I love moderating, I love being part of the panel itself. And thanks to all of you. It's nice to have a mix of Canadians and Americans, and hopefully, coming up with the events, in EXPCon in Miami in October, and then we got EXPCon Canada in Toronto coming up in May. Maybe we can bump into each other. It's always nice to meet each other face to face.
Thanks, Dave. Great job.
Yeah, no, thank you. That was
Awesome. Well, I want to thank you all for coming today. We're going to be here every Friday for those of you listening out there on YouTube. Next week, we're going to have Dave back. We're going to have Michelle back, and we're going to have Stuart back. You guys, this was a really good show. Thank you so much. If you're watching this on YouTube, smash that like button. Have a good one, y'all.
Thank you. Have a great day,
See you, bye.
guys.